This episode of The Answer is Yes Baja Sessions is brought to you by Baja Bound Insurance Services. Driving to Mexico? You can buy and print out your Mexican auto insurance policy online in minutes with their easy-to-use website. They also have great travel information to help you plan your trip south of the border. Visit bajabound.com, the easiest way to get Mexican auto insurance.
All right, well, welcome to Baja Sessions. This is our Monday show where we talk about Baja and all things Baja. This is a subsidiary of the Answer is Yes podcast, so welcome to the show. And, you know, I've had some off-road guys, I've had some tour guys, I've had a couple beer guys and a hotel guy. Now it is time to have one of my newer friends this year, Michael Langdon, who is a wine guy. Michael, how are you today?
I'm very well, thank you, Jim. Outstanding.
Michael, you know what I love about you, and I have the benefit of knowing your story, and you just reminded me, you've been in the wine business for a while, but really specifically Baja Wines for about 5-6 years going down there, and I would say that you were probably one of the earliest adapters from a corporate standpoint to embrace Baja Wines with your position at Whole Foods, right?
Absolutely, yeah, it was... We were one of the first, I believe, certainly groceries, a package dealer here in San Diego who said, let's see what this is all about, and brought some people up and let's see what they're all about, and let's see what this is all about. So yes, you're absolutely correct.
I just think that you are such a visionary person. I spent the full day with you down in Baja. Matter of fact, to my listeners of the Answer is Yes podcast, if you've seen my logo with me standing arms crossed in front of the blue wall, Michael took that picture on our trip to Baja. So thank you, Michael, for that. I've been using it. But
my pleasure, Jim.
Yeah.
You were the good-looking guy. I just saw a painted wall and said, I bet he might look good there.
And it worked out just fine. So thank you for making me look good.
Good.
But you know, Michael,
pleasure.
You really are a visionary when it comes to, 6 years ago, the Valle looked completely different than what it does today. And you saw something then that you invested. I would say you invested your career and your reputation in Baja Wines because you were the guy that had to say yes on behalf of Whole Foods. And that was a big step. I mean, what made you decide it was the right time and place for those wines?
Oh gosh, a few things, Jim. Part of it being, without getting too homer here, but being a native San Diego, and I've gone to Baja for a long time. And once I got into the wine industry, I started to realize I've been to the Napas, Sonomas, Santa Barbaras, Temecula here locally, and there was something exciting about it. It was the people are welcoming, the wines. Initially, had somewhere to go. They got better. They're willing to learn. And I think anyone that's gotten into Valle now realizes they got to give some of the credit to all the chefs that I think personally put them on the map, at least in the U.S.
Yeah.
And I fought, I went all the way to Austin, Texas, going back to Whole Foods and saying, in which I had some conversations with the head buyers and said, this is viable, it's going to happen, and this is good juice.
Yeah, and you have a great palate. You actually produced or helped produce your own wine. Was it your own wine label? You worked with somebody to produce a wine. I remember seeing it on the shelves.
Yeah, I was very, very fortunate at a certain time with the company when they allowed that I absolutely did a couple things. We did some charity wines for Whole Foods that I was able to have a panel, did some blind tastings. We all picked, the wine that I made, which is beyond flattering. And then, yes, with a good buddy of mine who's, local guy who's now in Napa, I was able to come up with a wine that I made. And yeah, we brought 100 cases into the store and it sold out.
Well, you didn't tell me it sold out because, oddly enough, before I met you, my wife had tried your wine and she loved it. And then I put 2 and 2 together that day we spent together, that was the wine she fell in love with on a random trip into your store. So thank you very much for telling me it sold out. Now I got to give her the bad news.
Yes. Yeah, please tell her kindly.
I'm telling you. But, so let's just get back to the Valle. 6 years ago, it was different down there than what it is now. They've gone through a lot of changes. I think you can go back every 2 weeks and something to be different down there. With that being said, has it lost anything, or do you think it just continues to get better?
I don't know. It hasn't lost anything. It continues to get better. I think one of the most amazing things, Jim, and I know that you're also a fan of the wines down there and the people down there. I think what has happened is there's the folks who started, the Mr. Magonis and the Palapalonis and these, a lot of people who have been down there for, 30 years, 40 years before you and I, got an idea how wonderful this was. And what's happening is there's now another generation. And I think everyone has tried to make the wines better and better and better. I think right now, if you go down there now, as much as I loved the wines earlier, I think they're in a much better place today than they've ever been.
Yeah. And what I understand you saying it's the next generation and they've learned a lot more down there. But what specifically, because you're a man with a palate and you understand the wine business, what specifically do you think has changed that has made that wine better? Because I agree with you. Even what I've tasted a couple years ago is way better now.
Well, it's been some hardships, Jim. I mean, they've had to deal, as just like California has, in the fact that there's not a lot of, that it's drier there. It's that Mediterranean climate that we deal with here in San Diego County. They have to deal with down there, which is why Spanish and Italian varietals do well. It's that Mediterranean climate. And I think years ago there was, I think the biggest complaint I used to hear, and I'm going way back, 8, 9 years. Well, there's an earthiness, a saltiness to it. They have figured it out, God bless them. They figured out, okay, let's do this. Let's figure out the water better. Let's get our Nebbiolos became the big grape. Let's get our Viogniers. Let's get our Merlots, Sangiovese. And the wines are better than ever. And I think what's going to happen, I don't mean to skip ahead from your question, but I think this new signing, as you probably read the paper in the San Diego Union, about getting that water shifted down there from the Tijuana riverbed it's going to be amazing, because Napa's done that for years.
Yeah.
Bring in that water, give them a little more water, and let these people do what they do well.
Do you feel like the Valle is getting too big? I know I've traveled through there recently, and I just see new places pop up. My personal opinion is I love seeing the arts and crafts and what people are erecting down there, because it gives me new spots to go. But what's your interpretation of that?
I don't think that's happened yet. I think one of the things that I give the owners and the chefs and the winemakers credit for is, and this isn't my quote, it's theirs, it's like, please don't call us the new Napa. We're not.
Uh-huh.
We're Valle. We're Valle de Guadalupe. We're in Baja. We're Mexico's #1 producer of wine. And I respect that. I love that they want to hold on to that tone, that image. No, it's not. It's not 400 wineries yet. It's not. There are mom and pops, which every place. I was just up in Napa recently. Everybody has mom and pops or boutique wineries. I think they're excited about what's happening now and what's going to happen in the future, Jim.
Yeah. When you start digging into the varietals down there, you mentioned a couple like the Nebbiolos. What do you think is the best varietal for the Valle, or what is your favorite varietal down there in terms of your palate and what you like?
Oh, my.
Yeah, I'm going to put you on the spot.
Yeah, no. Well, what's a hard question? I used to get that asked that in the stores. What's your favorite cab? What's your favorite thing? I mean, I think as a lover, if you will, of the wines in the industry of the grape, I think everyone does something well. I think the Nebbiolos have kind of gotten on fire. I went to a recent event down in Ensenada where all the winemakers are there, and I got to try a vertical of 13 different Nebbiolos. Jim, every one of them was different.
Wow.
Good, bad, and different. all different, and that's exciting. That says a lot about the winemaker. Are they on the hillside, where they were from? I think blends are very big down there. I think they do a good job of I've got this much Merlot here on this acreage. I got some pretty good Cab here. Oh, look, a little bit of Sangio, a little bit of Syrah. And I think they figured out, rather than a single variety, and again, forgive me, but let's say Napa Cabs or Sonoma Shards, they have said, we're going to take what we have and we're going to blend it, make it, and we're going to do the best we can.
Yeah.
So I think right now I'd have to kind of go with the blends as being the leaders at the moment, whatever that blend is.
Well, I lobbed an elementary question at you knowing that you would give me a much better answer, so thank you for that.
You're so kind.
Well, people always ask me the same thing, and I feel the same way as you, is that every winery is known for something different, and they all have their unique take on it, and with their blends, you have an opportunity to experience wines like you've never had before. When you taste some of those blends, immediately to me, Gran Ricardo stands out, over there at Monte Chinique. When you look at that blend,
absolutely,
the things that they're doing over at Las Nubes, and even some of the single varietals, like you and I both love the Chardonnay over at El Cielo. So everybody's a little bit different down there.
Yeah, and right. We had this conversation when we were down there. I actually had a conversation, Jim, about a week ago with someone saying, well, how about the white wines? And I said, well, it's like San Diego, that Mediterranean climate. I'm going back to that because they can do a Viognier. As you know, Monte Chinique, it's the white flower that grows on the side of the mountains. That's where the whole name comes from.
Yeah.
And they do some beautiful, white blends. They're known for that, by the way, inexpensive yet tasteful Sauvignon Blanc.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. I've done a lot of tastings, and it's not your typical Russian River, Santa Barbara Chard, but El Cielo. I was at a tasting years ago, and I went back to the El Cielo Chard 3 times, which is why I made a big deal about bringing it to Whole Foods as pretty much the only Chardonnay I brought in. Other white wines, other white wines. I think Zima had one. They've got Santo Tomas, but yeah, that Chardonnay for roughly, and forgive me, but a U.S. retail, let's say for $20 to $21, I'd put it up against many others I've tried.
Yeah, no, it's a great product. You brought up the Monte Chinique Sauvignon Blanc. I had the pleasure of doing some wine shows the last couple of weeks in some of these high-end towns. I was in Newport Beach doing a wine show there, and then out in Palm Springs. And I just love when I put that Monte Chinique Sauvignon Blanc out there for people to taste, because first they walk up to the table like, oh, Mexican wines, really? And it's like, yeah, have you tried them? And they're like, no, but I've heard a little bit about them. I'm willing to try them. I said, okay, well, let's start with the Sauvignon Blanc, because I already know they're going to try it and their eyes are going to just light up, because it's such a great product.
True. And I'll tell you what else. Let's just stay with Monte Chinique and that white. You're right. That's probably the best seller. But when I was in, the retail end of it, I used to bring in their Chenin Blanc Colombard.
Yeah.
People actually loved it more because I'll tell you why. It's like a Viognier. Your average customer, is not sure. They know a Chard. Do they want something malolactic? Do they want that oaky buttery? Do they want something that's stainless steel? Well, what's beautiful about that Chenin Blanc that they do is they don't know. Maybe they've had one or two, or a French Chablis. So it's like, you know what? I know what Sauvignon Blancs that they think tastes like, whether it's a grassy New Zealand or the Napa Valley grapefruit. And when they try Monte Chinique's Chenin Blanc Colombard, they're like, oh, this could go with shellfish. This could go with this. This could go with that. And it's so exciting to watch their faces when you give them a tasting, and they're like, okay, you're right, I'll buy it.
Yeah. No, and I just...
It's fun to try on to it.
It really is, and I just love the process of introducing people to something new, especially from a place that I'm so passionate about, being Baja. Speaking of new, I know you and I could talk wine, or I could actually listen to you educate me on wine all day, but we just don't have that kind of time. What I would love to hear about is your perspective on some of the food down there, because I know we both love food. Can you tell us about a couple of your experiences in the food and what you appreciate about the Valle and the food?
Yeah, I've given